This is Let's Talk Teens, a parenting podcast sharing tips on raising amazing teenagers. We are both certified life coaches that have worked with teenagers as coaches, mentors, and teachers. We are sharing what we have found to work best when dealing with teens and tough issues. This is Abbi and Cheree, Let's Talk Teens, episode 69, 3 tips to help your teen stop people pleasing.
Oh, people pleasing is such a real thing. And I'm sure you parents are thinking, yeah, I need to stop people
I
pleasing.
know, this is for me.
This is for me. And I have to just start out by saying I am definitely a recovering, not recovered, recovering people pleaser. It is a work in progress for me as well. And I think people pleasing comes so easy because we want people to like us. Kind of our last episode, we talked about not like, our teachers, our kids' teachers not liking them. We like to be liked. We
Mhm.
like people to like us. And so it's very natural for us to want to people please because then we think people will like us and they won't reject us. But the reality is most times when we are people pleasing, we're wanting someone to like us, and so we do things even though they're not genuine. We end up not maybe being rejected by them, but we reject ourselves. And the truth is, it's not very honest. Most people pleasing creates a ton of resentment. And that resentment in relationships doesn't create a genuine, healthy, honest relationship. And so, as parents ourselves, I feel like it's important that for our teen to stop people pleasing, that has to start with us. That needs to start with are we modeling people pleasing or are we modeling, really being genuine and truthful in what we intend and want to do? So here's 3 great tips, I think. I'm sure there's more, but we'll start with number 1. And it's just practice not saying yes when you want to say no.
Mm.
Simple and yet so hard, right? We want to say yes. We want to say yes because that makes us feel good. And then, we're the superheroes or we're likable. But I think it's good to remember we're always saying no to someone. So if we say yes to them, sometimes we're saying no to being honest about what we are really capable of or what we really can do. Or we're saying yes to them and we're saying no to something else that was important to us. But we're always saying no to someone. So yes isn't just a yes. It's a yes to them and maybe a no to something else. So just looking at that and really deciding, do I really mean this? Like, do I really like my reason for saying yes? Because if I like my reason for saying yes, then resentment and frustration won't follow. But if I'm just saying yes because I want them to like me, or I want to look like the good guy, or I want to be the hero of the story, it's chances are I'm going to resent them.
Mm.
Have an example of this just like happened not too long ago where I said yes to something that I really didn't have the energy or the time to do. But I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings, right? I want to help them. I do want to help them, but like really at the point it actually was causing hurt in me because it just was me overdoing it. So say yes, and then the whole time I'm doing it, I hate it. I'm resenting it. It's not really like I'm really not being honest. I'm really not showing up as my best self and recognizing, okay, I said yes here when I really didn't have the mental or physical energy to do this. And it would have been better for me to say, oh, I really want to help you on this, but right now I don't have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
And then that relationship would have been so much more honest instead of me just resenting them the whole time.
Where I have tried to monitor this in myself because I always will say yes and then I'm like, I did I say yes, right?
Hmm.
Is if it's not a heck yes, like a yes,
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
then it's a heck no, right? And
Uh,
and I have found that what I teach clients and what I strive for with myself is the telling them the no is the hard part. It's not that I don't know the answer. I know what answer I want to give, but it's the we don't want to tell them. And so all the time clients will say, "Well, how do I tell this boy that I think he's so nice and wonderful and I love our friendship, but I just don't want to date him and I just don't feel that way about him romantically? Like, Abbi, how do I say that?" And I go, "Just say exactly that." Right? Like
yeah.
say that, right?
Be genuine.
And I teach this concept of sharing the whole truth. And we've talked about that on this podcast, but I teach it to my clients of, it's a disservice in this example with this made up young lady to just say, nope, I don't want to go on a date with you Friday and make up a lie of why you don't want to, but
Right.
sharing the whole truth of saying exactly that, saying, I think you're wonderful and amazing and I love our friendship and I do love hanging out with you, but I just don't like you romantically, right? And sharing that whole truth because then as we continue to do that, it's like a muscle. It gets a little bit easier to just say it like it is in a kind, loving way that shares the whole truth.
And Abby, wouldn't you want someone to do that for you? Like, I mean, do you want someone to just say yes when they really aren't up for it, or to like lie to you about why they aren't going on a date with you? Wouldn't you really want someone to be like, I just want to be like, we want people to be straight with us. And
Mhm.
yet we're just so like, oh, I got to sugarcoat this, or I got to say yes, even though I really don't have the strength or energy to do it. And I think, I don't want someone to do something that I ask if it's really gonna do a number on them,
Yeah.
or it's not truthful, or it's not authentic, or it's not, really what they're able to give. Okay, number two, be careful offering something you don't really want to give. So,
Mm.
it's not just the yes, but it's like, don't like, not even someone's asked you to do something. You're just thinking, oh, okay, oh, I can just help you with your homework, thinking about your teens. Like I can help you with your homework, but you're like, oh, please tell me you don't really want me to help you with your homework because I really
Yeah.
don't want to do that,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
hoping that they deny the what you're offering.
Offering.
And how many times do we do that? And as parents, we do that, and our kids watch us do that. So are we offering something that we really are hoping that they say no to, or that they forget about, or they're like, oh no, I'm okay. And we're so quick to do this in our world of like, oh, what can I do for you? How can I help you when people are going through hard times? And really, do we really mean that? Do we really want to help them? Do we really want to be there for them? And I think just being really more aware of that. Like, I'm not going to offer something unless I really genuinely am
Mhm.
up for that.
I love that because I do that and I think we do it because it feels like, oh, see, I'm still a nice person. See, I still
Yeah.
am your friend.
Yeah.
But I really hope you don't take me up on that offer,
But
right?
secretly, you're like, please no, please no, please no, please no. Right. But then I can look like the hero and the good guy and like the I care. And the reality is, I don't really care. I care about my ego more because I'm just wanting to look good, and then I want you to say no. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just good for us to watch for that. Okay, and number three is just unburdening ourselves from feeling responsible for meeting other people's needs. Like, and this as parents, I think we feel like we have to fix it, and meet their needs. And I think it's just saying, okay, I don't need to burden myself with that. How I look at this is a friend taught me this, as she called it, door dashing. So it's like, okay, I need to people please by just meeting all your needs all the time and feeling responsible for that. And so I'm going to door dash you. Oh, you want that? You want Taco Bell? Okay, I'm going to bring that to you. You want McDonald's? I'm going to bring that to you. But we do that in not necessarily food, but in like, oh, you need me to get you a drink of water. Okay, you need me to get you your notebook so you can do your homework. You need me to show up for you to pick you up from school at 3 o'clock exactly. You need me to take you to this friend's at 5:05. Like, and it's just we DoorDash, and we do that with our kids, and then our kids expect us to do it, and then we resent them, and then they do it. They keep the
Mm-hmm.
cycle going. So it's the stop the door dashing. We are not a door dasher. We don't need to meet everyone's needs. We don't need to run from one place to the next, making sure everyone gets exactly what they want. But instead, it's looking at it as like, okay, I'm gonna invite you over to take, like, you can have what I have to offer, my spread, what I put on the table. And if
Yeah.
there's anything here that I have to offer you that would help you, I am so available for you. But McDonald's and Taco Bell and Panda Express might not all be on this table,
Mm.
right? Or if we put that in terms of like even you doing this for your kids so you can be the hero, is actually might not be available to pick you up at 5:05. Like I have something else at that time. You're gonna have to wait till 5:30 and I'll be there as soon as I can, or find another way home. This is what I have to offer for you.
Yeah.
Instead of, okay, like I'm gonna commit to all these things so I can meet all your needs. And then I'm gonna be so frustrated, and I'm gonna be so um resentful, and I'm going to feel so overburdened, and and overwhelmed, and then I'm going to lose it on somebody at some point because I haven't been authentic at what I'm really capable. I haven't been honest, maybe is the better word, of what I'm really capable at delivering here.
I once had heard this and I was like, ooh, that strikes a chord with me. They said, we people please, especially with our kids, like you were saying with that DoorDash analogy, because it builds our self-esteem as a parent. I'm
Yeah.
needed. I'm so wanted. Look at all the things I've done for my kids. Versus if I have a really healthy sense of self, I'm willing to say, you know what? I'm not the mom that can always be there at 3 p.m. pickup,
Mhm.
but I always make sure my kid's okay, right? Whether that's they have a ride home or I do, another ride swap with somebody else. And that's because we are good with ourselves and we don't need to, do that self-esteem boost through people pleasing. And our youth will do that. And so if we can help them have that healthy sense of self-esteem and they can do things on their own, it's easier for them to put a stop of that, of saying, you know what, here's what I can do and here's what I can't do.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to realize that what we do for our teens right now in that door dashing versus like, this is what I have to offer, this is my spread, it doesn't just last during teenage years. It goes into them becoming young adults and still expecting, the same thing. I had a mom share with me not too long ago that here her kids are all adults and now they have children, and she's still door dashing. She still has to be available whenever they need her to watch their kids, or they every time her and her husband want to go on a vacation, guess what? The kids expect that they need to be invited. They need to come too. And she's got to meet all their needs because when they were teenagers, she felt that same pressure to meet all their needs, to be their best mom and their best friend and meet all their needs as teenagers. Well, it hasn't changed. And now they're adults and they have kids of their own. And this mom is still door dashing instead of saying, this is what I have available. And she's resents her kids. She feels exhausted from them. She doesn't even enjoy being with them anymore because she's with them all the time. And she's with her grandkids all the time. And so it's just saying, okay, this is a great time as a parent to be like, okay, am I people pleasing? And am I even doing it with my children? And this example of me people pleasing, is it what my kids are learning? Are they watching what I'm modeling? Or are there some things I can change up to help them also change up their pattern of people pleasing?
Well, I think that's powerful because I've been giving a lot of thought recently to um, this big shift that's coming in parenting. Of the big shift has been from child focused parenting and a lot of they're calling it like therapy talk, right? So we talk a lot about these big words and it's coming from social media where we all can share a lot of info and we are really smart, right? But maybe some of that's overused. And now it's flipping to this side of a little bit more like parent focused parenting, which I think is a good shift, meaning what you're saying here of my job is not to be a door dasher for my kids. My job is to model a great example of boundaries and here's what I have to offer. And so I've been thinking a lot about how when we do stop people pleasing for the sake of I'm trying to improve my self-esteem or I'm trying to make you like me, but then we can choose to show up in ways that really matter and that build our village, right?
Mhm.
And the example I'm thinking of happened a couple of weeks to a family friend and they told me about it. They're serving the young women's in their ward and they asked these two girls if they would sing as part of like their young women's new beginnings or something like that. And these girls, they do choir at school, they do musical theater, like all day they just talk about how much they love singing. And these girls said no. They said, "Oh no, we would never do that." And when the leader kind of pressed them and said, "Well, why not? You love singing and we really need your help." They said, "Well, boundaries, you know?" And I've thought a lot about that because it's similar to what we're saying of like, hey, I don't want to overextend myself. I don't want to say yes just because my leader needs me to. But I am like, I think maybe in some ways we've overused that boundaries of just saying, I don't want to do anything. So I think it's
Exactly.
really powerful when we stop people pleasing that we can very intentionally choose and say, I am doing this. Not because necessarily like I'm going to want to in that moment, because it's going to be really scary when I stand up to sing, but because I want to be a better singer, but because I want to hang out with these other young women in my ward, because I feel like it's important to, help out when I need to, right? With these things. But that's how you can turn that, oh man, I don't know the answer on this to a heck yes, because of all those things we've tied it to of, hey, I want to build that village. Hey, I want to hang out with this friend. I want to be a better singer. And we can make that choice instead of resenting and going, oh, I didn't want to do this, but I did anyway.
And I think one of the best ways we can really make sure we're doing that, because it is, you're talking about like, really each extreme of the pendulum swing of, just like, boundaries, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to help anyone, to this other pendulum swing of people pleasing and doing everything for everyone, right? And I think the solution to finding what that middle ground is, finding that balance where it just comes in the middle, that pendulum swing, is asking like, what is my reason for saying yes or no? And being real clear with that. I think that can help us really move forward in a way that is authentic and honest and builds relationships and doesn't deplete us, but also, and sometimes it still is uncomfortable because growth is uncomfortable and it's progression, right?
Oh, thank you for putting a bow on all those thoughts of mine. So you did that beautifully, Cheree.
So good.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Teens with Cheree Murdock and Abbi Winslow. If you are looking for more tips to help your teenager, here's where you can find us. You can find Cheree Murdock on Instagram at Cheree Murdock Coaching or on her website, ChereeMurdock.com. You can find me, Abbi, on Instagram as Abbi Winslow or on my website, AbbiWinslow.com. Please rate and review our podcast and share with a fellow parent. Thanks for listening.